justice, whether it's against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down. Don't sit down on them, because they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and we are live. We just sat through Amber Heard's testimony. I thought we'd just be celebrating Star Wars Day, but I'm instead celebrating a mega pint. Guys, if you have them, I implore you to pour them while you got them, because that was rough. And I'm going to be drinking because I have to. I don't know how else to get through this, but thankfully I got a lot of guests with me. Cheers to all my amazing guests tonight. It's Kim, Steph the alternate, and attorney at law, Christopher Melcher. Cheers to all you guys. My God, that was brutal. Are you guys ready for this show? Because we got a lot of clips that I think are going to make us all angry.
Well, I've been working today, so I've not really been able to catch much of it. So
you get to watch live, Steph. I'm so glad.
I'm bracing me butthole on this one.
Well, to everybody in the chat who's got a mega pint, I cheers you. I salute you. May the 4th be with you. Trying to be positive because that was rough. That was really rough. We got to see many sides of Amber Heard today, as well as the cross of Dr. Hughes, which was good. It was probably more interesting. I think you were seeing it too, Christopher. More interesting. But then the star of the show, Miss Amber Heard, finally debuted her biggest performance yet, and boy, did she debut a performance. And yeah, that was really, really, really tough. It's very clear that Amber is going to what the story that Amber is now suddenly putting out there, and it's just bizarre. Given the tapes we've heard, the evidence we've seen, it just doesn't align with anything we've seen so far. She's doing a complete 180. It started with her trying to paint Johnny as some obsessed older man trying to prey on her as some sort of predator. It was a bizarre start, and then it kept going, and we have many clips we're going to watch with you together, react, start and stop, so we can all react and add some truth and fact to what we saw with Amber on the stand here. Just real quick, I want to go around and get everyone's sort of first line summary of how did you think Amber did? I'll start with you, Kim. You were watching most of it. Quickly, sort of line summary. What did you think of Amber Heard's performance?
It was definitely that. As a rule, I try to be nice. I don't like to accuse anybody of anything, but the whole thing for me just, it didn't smell right. None of it smelled right. It didn't feel authentic. I did not believe much of what she said. There were some moments where it was like, okay, I can kind of see some truth there, but overwhelmingly, no.
Steph, no. I know you didn't see it, so I'm going to go to you, Christopher, since you watched a little bit more of it. Thought overall on the performance today?
Yeah, I was disappointed. I thought after all this preparation, she got the new PR team, she got to listen to other witnesses go before her, that we would have seen something a lot better. But to me, her face did not match her words. And there's a big disconnect there when somebody is expressing real emotion. Their face, it's very difficult to get your face to do anything other than tear up or show a genuine expression of that emotion. Here, her face expressed anger while she was saying that things that would normally make a person well up and cry. So it was jarring to me. And also, she didn't take any responsibility, not one bit. And I don't know, overall, what is it, like an hour and a half on the stand. So it was a real missed opportunity for her to come in there and saying, I messed up in some stuff, and I take responsibility for what I messed up, and now let me tell my story. At least then it would open my mind up more to listen to her.
Yeah, you said that when we were talking via text, and I think that's a really good place to start, because she didn't. It's very clear Amber is going to take zero responsibility, and it's very weird that she's going to play that angle, given that we've heard the tapes. Like, I'm sorry, Amber, you can't just completely gaslight us all, because there's evidence that shows you were really difficult too. And the most jarring thing to me was just she spoke about the monster, and she paints this picture of Johnny, and we have so many tapes and texts, and I'm sorry, I don't see it ever. I don't see one example of this person that Amber's describing. Instead, I see her being the monster in a lot of the evidence that we've seen. And so it's just really frustrating and sad, and made me angry as she's trying to paint this like holier than thou, aw shucks, type of approach that she was playing the whole time, where I'm just like, what she's doing to women and victims is infuriating, because I'm sorry, I don't believe it. She has provided zero evidence. There's a couple images that we'll talk about, bruising she's claiming, but all of it it smells funny. Nothing lines up, and there's no evidence of Johnny on tape, except for I think there's one moment where he really screamed, like near the end of the relationship when he was sort of fed up by her and her constant pushing. He sort of screams, F you, see you next Tuesday. A couple of moments where he did it, but I never felt like he was the one starting it. All the experts we've seen and heard from made it very clear that she was the aggressor, and the only person who said otherwise was this woman, Dawn Hughes. Now, I do sort of want to start there a bit because there was a pretty big cross.
Testified recently in a deposition on behalf of
he basically asked, like,
I testified recently in a deposition on behalf of a
support
man.
men.
6 weeks ago, you couldn't remember a single time you had testified on behalf of a man. Page 78, line 8. So you can't recall a single instance where you were hired by the attorney representing the male in an IPV matter, correct?
In an IPV matter, not in a trauma matter.
You're a professional witness, correct?
That's not correct.
You make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year testifying in court.
Not testifying in court. The majority of those cases never show up in a courtroom.
Christopher, is she a professional witness?
Well, she's a hired witness. She gets paid to testify, but she is a terrible, terrible witness. So yeah, that's her job.
Maybe she was a professional witness. Maybe she won't be anymore.
Well, I think it's going to be hard. But look, you kind of unfortunately can find folks like this who will say whatever you want them to say. And that it's a corruption of the legal process, and it's something that I fight against all the time in court when you get people who are calling themselves experts. And this is like, I am surprised the judge let this in, because it's one thing for Dr. Curry to come up there and saying, hey, I did an evaluation and I diagnosed somebody. And you can argue all day long whether the diagnostic criteria fit, but that's what psychologists can do forensically, is diagnose somebody after an evaluation. Her opinion is that Amber Heard had behaviors that were consistent with being abused. And that's not a matter of psychological opinion. It's just another way of saying, I believe her. And we humans are not lie detectors, and the psychologist is no better trained to determine whether somebody's being truthful or not, or whether an incident happened or not. So that is not a proper matter of psychological opinion.
All right, there's a few. I don't want to get too hung up on her stuff, but
And half of my income is about my clinical work.
I didn't ask you about the other half of your income. I'm asking you whether you made hundreds of thousands of dollars a year testifying as an expert witness in court.
I testify perhaps maybe once or twice a year.
But you'll agree with me that a big part of that practice is providing expert witness testimony.
That's not correct. If I testify twice a year, that's not a big part of my practice.
What portion of your practice do you provide expert witness services?
It's a smaller part.
You actually instruct others on the use of expert testimony in court cases, correct?
On the use and understanding trauma.
Can we pull up PX12?
does any of this surprise you? Do you think this was a good way to expose her, Christopher?
Yes, it looks.
That they're talking about her getting paid and getting teaching.
It does. Look, everybody always uses that line with the experts. How much are you being paid? This is what you do for a living. It's like, so what? It's who cares if she did it for free or whether she got $1 million? We saw a biased witness. It was not because she was paid. It was because this is her. I think she is a dishonest witness. And we saw that come out in several respects in the way that she testified. And so for me, that this isn't instructive here for the jury to hear that she gets paid to render an opinion. So does Dr. Curry.
But isn't it the job of Johnny's team to prove that she's a dishonest witness? Do you feel like they did that?
Well, yeah. So what I think you either saw the bias yourself like we all did yesterday before the cross-examination occurred, or you didn't. And having an attorney pointing it out doesn't necessarily, make it any clearer. Now, there are some places where I think they did that. What I thought was better about it was that she referred to psychological testing that was conducted on Amber during her testimony, which allowed then the Johnny's team to say, give me these Q&A, the test questions and answers. Normally we don't get to see those because these testing services copyright their questions and they don't want it out there. But since she referred to it, it did get out there and get published to the jury. There was a question that Amber was asked by Hughes about whether Johnny had committed an SA on her. And the question was, how frequent did that happen in the last year? Johnny's team clarified with Dr. Hughes that Amber was instructed the last year meant the last year of the relationship. And Amber responded, none, didn't happen. I thought that was extremely important. That was an admission by Amber that completely contradicts the testimony that we heard today and the whole basis for this expert's opinion that the event occurred. But here we have in the test results themselves saying it did not occur.
Here there was a couple other big moments here. I want to make sure.
Put faith with respect to that, with respect to the truthfulness.
I'm aware he testified some information from one party.
I didn't ask whether you get a lot of information. I asked whether you can assess a relationship without talking to both parties.
There are certainly limitations inherent in that.
You talked to Ms. Heard for 30 hours, right?
Correct.
How long you spent with Mr. Depp?
I did not spend any time with Mr. Depp.
In fact, you never met Mr. Depp, have you?
I have not.
Ms. Heard is talking to Mr. Cohen, or Dr. Cohen. But you understand that he testified that he assumes the patient is telling the truth. Testified he was making a leap of faith with respect to that, with respect to the truthfulness.
I'm aware he testified something to that effect.
And you testified yesterday that Dr. Cohen never diagnosed Ms. Heard with any personality disorders. You remember that?
Yes.
In fact, Dr. Cohen's deposition testimony reflects the fact that he doesn't make diagnoses, correct?
Correct.
Did Dr. Cohen testify that he never had the feeling that Johnny intended to hurt Ms. Heard?
I believe he said that.
Now, you testified that you approach a forensic evaluation with a healthy degree of skepticism.
Correct.
This skepticism didn't cause you to conduct interviews with Laurel Anderson.
Right, I did not speak to Dr. Laurel Anderson. She was a couples therapist that they sought. She
You'd
did
think
have
we'd talk to her
long,
since she's the one who talked to them both?
Interview with Mr. Depp individually and with Ms. Heard individually.
So you didn't interview Laurel Anderson, but you know what she did. How'd you figure that out?
We had her redacted notes and her deposition.
And you understood from her deposition that Dr. Anderson didn't believe Ms. Heard to be a victim of spousal abuse?
I believe those were her words, yes.
You know Ms. Heard had a personal nurse,
Correct.
Erin Filati.
Correct.
You didn't interview Ms. Filati either.
I did not.
You know she spent time with Ms. Heard on a regular basis.
Correct. I had her clinical notes that I reviewed.
Right. And you reviewed her deposition testimony.
Correct.
And you reviewed the nursing notes.
Yes.
So you know that Ms. Heard admitted to a history of eating disorders to Ms. Filati, correct?
I know that's in the notes. I'm not sure where that came from.
But you relied on everybody else's notes.
And there are some things that I disagreed with, like I disagreed with Dr. Laurel Anderson about it being mutual abuse.
So the stuff you disagree with, you disregard, and the rest you keep, correct?
That's not correct.
Feels pretty correct. But
Can we pull up PX92?
This is the
this is
knife
great.
that Miss Heard gave to Mr. Depp as a gift.
Do you know what it says?
Yes, it says hasta la muerta.
look at her
Till death.
laughing.
So a woman you suggest has characteristics of being afraid for her life gives her intimate partner a large knife, which she has inscribed until death. That's your testimony?
Well-
But you know she hits him, right?
And I testified to that.
You weren't there, right?
I was not there, that's correct.
How many times did she admit to hitting him?
She indicated a number of times in a number of instances.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 343.
I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this. I f***ing was hitting you. I was hitting you. I'm not
What is
saying
this called
about
again?
it, am I?
Lower end
You are.
violence,
That's
Kim?
the
What are we calling
difference
this?
between me and you.
Low level violence.
I did start a physical fight.
You did, so I had
Because
to get out of there.
It is admirable to retreat from a fight.
Oh.
She said she hit him first, then that would not be reactive violence.
Is it your testimony that throwing a can of mineral spirits at your spouse is characteristic of reactive violence?
Yes.
All right. So when you throw a can of Red Bull in a state of frustration or anger, that's not reactive.
No.
Right. And you'll agree with me that when you throw the second bottle, that's not reactive violence.
If somebody's throwing multiple bottles, I don't think throwing bottles is acceptable in any context.
Well, thank God. Thank God. We agree with something. So I'm glad we played because it sets up the Amber testimony because this is the one doctor they put ahead of it to try and, make her seem more legitimate. Sorry, my cough. I shouldn't drink this sugar drink. It made my cough worse. I got my cough drop now. But yeah, so I feel like that did help a little bit. That Christopher, he did his best to hammer that a little bit more. And I think the biggest telling was when he said, so you disregard the things you don't like and you keep the things you do like. Really did, I feel like, summed up without her. And she obviously did admit it, but hard to deny that, I hope, in the jury's mind. Do you feel so?
Yeah, I think so. And also, I mean, she admitted that she never spoke with Johnny. And here she's talking about intimate partner issues in this relationship. And she acknowledged, yeah, that's a limitation on my opinion. But an honest expert would either, first of all, not render an opinion under such severe limitations. And if they do, they would state outright, hey, you got to take my opinion with a grain of salt because I never talked to Johnny. But she never mentioned any limitations at all in her ability to gather information or render an opinion until she was confronted with that on cross. So again, it's showing she's doing harm, I think, more to Amber's case than helping Amber's case. So, yeah.
All right, I want to get into now Miss Heard. Let's get into Miss Heard's quotes. I kind of want to start with the best quote of the day, which Kim found at the end. I don't know how I missed it, but thank God you pulled it. Let's start with the biggest winner, I thought, Christopher. You ready for this one? We're going to go through a lot, so get ready. Trigger warning to all you survivors out there. This is going to piss you off. It's going to piss you off, and if you can't handle it, respect that, step away, whatever you got to do. But I want to bring this out and expose this because I'm not buying it, and I'm very curious if you guys are. In fact, while this is playing, I'm going to put a vote up. I'd love to see what you guys think. Do you believe her? So here we go. Here's I think the quote of the day.
Basically was accusing me of doing this thing and of making them aware of his that he was drinking again. And he slams me up against the side wall of the bedroom of the we were in the bedroom this whole time, but up against the wall of the cabin, and slams me up by my neck and holds me there for a second and tells me that he could fucking kill me. And that was an embarrassment. I was embarrassing. It was an embarrassment. This whole thing was a joke. It was all embarrassment. I made him feel sick. And I'll never forget. I'm very, very, very much in love with this whole family now. And he's saying I'm embarrassing to him. And that somehow stuck in me more than the I could fucking kill you. It just sounded like hyperbole. It sounded like something he was just saying. But the names that he was calling me, well, kind of just pushing me up against the wall by my neck, it hurt my feelings. It hurt. When I communicated with
Andy, I can't hear you.
You're muted, Andy.
It hurt my feelings while she's being told she's going to die and has a hand around her neck. She's focused on her. I'm sorry. Am I being crazy? I don't want to speak for the out of turn, but what the hell is that? What the fuck is that? Kim, when you heard that, why did that piss you off so much?
Okay. So I think, I know we have a lot of people in here. By the way, welcome everybody. I try not to discredit anybody else's experiences. I try to be a really nice person. But I am someone who has repetitively experienced having someone's hands around my neck with the goal of ending my life. And I can tell you, and none of those times when that happened was I thinking about my feelings. I was thinking about how everything was going dark. I was thinking about how, oh wow, I might actually die this time. Wow, this is crazy. Is this really how I'm going to go out? And, everything kind of goes that way. At no point am I thinking about my feelings as I'm feeling my life slip away from me. So when I hear her go, my feelings, there's a part of me that just goes, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm done. I can't believe any of this. And I'm sorry if, I'm sure other people have different experiences. Not saying that everybody feels the same, but to me, this is garbage.
Yeah, look, I don't want to speak for victims either, but I don't know. Steph, you heard it for the first time. Did that make you piss you off as well?
It makes no goddamn sense. What? She might as well be speaking Japanese, and it still won't make sense to me. What? I'm sorry, but you allege you have someone's hands around your throat, and all you're talking about, all you're thinking is, oh my goodness, my feelings. Not, oh my goodness, I'm about to be off this planet. Oh my goodness, this is hurting me right now. Oh my goodness, how do I freaking escape from this with my life? Like, what is she chatting a load of shiz for? I think she's ultimate butt face number one. You just look at her face, think of it as two butt cheeks, blah, 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 and a lot of BS is coming out at the moment because she's an L. That don't make sense. I mean, Mr. Melcher turned around and said, he's seen this testimony and what she's saying isn't matching what's on her face. I'd respectfully go one step further and just based on this small part I've seen at the moment, never mind what's matching on her face, Mr. Melcher, what she's saying, just as like a true member of the survivorship as is Kim, that don't make sense at all. It really, really doesn't. There's something wrong with that picture. No, you're not thinking about, oh my goodness, my feelings. You're thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm going to not be here anymore. How do I get out of this? How do I fight? How do I stay on this earth? This is hurting. That is what you're thinking, not feelings.
I'm gonna miss his family, and I'm so hurt right now. He doesn't like. I mean, I'm sure maybe someone it does, but I don't buy the performance. And there's a lot more to performance. We can hang on that clip, but I got a lot more clips because I do think it's important to judge the important. I know we got a few more minutes with you, Christopher, but let's play one more clip, and then I'll get your thoughts as you exit or share anything else. But here's the sort of here's how it started. We got a lot to go through, and I want to watch a lot of this so we can really, pause and start and react to it because I find it all performative. I don't believe it. I don't find her credible. She brings no examples or proof, and I look forward to seeing what they try to bring as proof. But let's watch Amber sort of talk about the beginning of the relationship. Oh wait, this is actually the contradictions. I think is this 2 or 1? Sorry, that's 2. This one should be contradictions. I hope. Here we go.
I knew who he was. I wasn't a fan of his work. I wasn't familiar with him, but I knew who he was. So it was already a weird thing to go and get called into his office. And I'm a no-name actor. I was 22.
Oh, shucks,
I thought it was
I'm
unusual.
a nobody.
It was weird because
It was weird seeing Mr. Johnny Depp.
Twice my age.
I don't know who he is, but he's twice my age.
And he's this world-famous actor. I left there just feeling like, wow. So a few days later, my agent said that Johnny's going to call you. We gave him your phone number. I was like, oh, okay. And
really? Okay. That's what you said? You weren't like, oh shit, Johnny Depp has my phone number? Bullshit, Amber! Who's not gonna be excited that Johnny Depp's gonna call him?
Shortly after, my phone rings, I pick it up, and I hear, this like deep voice on the other line, and he said, you got you're it, kid. I was the dream kid. That's what he said. We didn't really have a whole lot of interaction on set until we did a scene that involved kissing. We had a kissing scene, and there are certain things that you do in the job to be professional, like when you have to do that sort of scene. There's certain things that you do to just maintain a certain line, and it just felt like those lines were blurred. I mean, he grabbed my face and pulled me into him and really kissed me. In between scenes.
So, he noticed that Johnny did it. Amber had nothing, no part of that kiss. She's, oh my God, why is Johnny calling me? I feel so weird. He's so weird and old. And then he just grabbed me and he wasn't very professional. He just really kissed me.
So in between setups.
So hang on though, Andy. Really kissed me as in supposed to not when the scene called
it's acting. I don't know. Does that mean tongue? I don't know. Good question. I don't know what that actually means.
What?
talking about things, and would continue the conversation into the trailer, often with the director. Bruce Robinson was his name. I was going on about the virtues of Malbec or something, and I brought him a bottle of this wine, and I'm going back to get back to set, and he kicked his foot up in the air and basically kind of lifted the back of my bathrobe up with his boot, and I kind of turned around and laughed, giggled. I didn't know what to make of it at the time, and I just kind of giggled and batted it away playfully. And
what? Did she like it or not, girls? Can you tell? The fuck is she playing this weird, he's exposed, he kicked my skirt up because he's a creepy, weird old man. I kind of giggled and liked it, but he's kind of creepy. Is that the vibe you're getting? She's trying to play both sides and describing this relationship, which, for the record, from what I remember hearing, everybody who was on that film was like, oh my God, they were super in love with each other. They were sneaking away, hooking up throughout the whole shoot. They were totally cheating on their significant others. A lot of people have come forward and sort of admitted that. And I believe, I'm sure that happened. It doesn't seem that far-fetched. But she's painting this relationship as if it's it's risky. Let me get to the turn.
Kind of playfully kind of pushed me down on this bed sofa and flirtatious, and he said, yum. And he kind of lifted up his eyebrows like that. And I giggled, laughed it off, kind of batted him away, and,
batted him away.
Went back to set. He invited me
I giggled and batted him away because I didn't want him. I was a professional actress. I wanted nothing to do with Johnny Depp.
To his house, something about the movie, but it was clearly not about the movie, if you know what I mean. It was. So I said, my friends are in town, I'm busy with that, and kind of hung up, feeling really startled,
She felt startled, guys, because Johnny tried to set up a meeting, and it didn't feel like a movie meeting. I didn't know what to do. Oh, I was so scared and startled. All this is painting this weird picture of him at the beginning of the...
I didn't know what else to do. He sent me several gifts. He sent me a beautiful dress, one that I wore.
Now he's obsessed. He's sending gifts.
With a beautiful handwritten note, said happy wrapping. Made a reference to the dress being wrapping paper. He sent me a few gorgeous, expensive, collectible books. And then when I was away, he did send me some guitars. I was informed about one delivery, and my partner at the time called me immediately and said, what should I do? And I said, send it back. And she did. And she indicated that there was another one that had already previously attempted delivery, and it was also rejected. I sent it back because I wasn't there, and I wouldn't have accepted it anyway.
Which is it? I sent it back because I wasn't there, and it's so many weird details you can't even keep the story straight, and it's so much of this is unnecessary. So anyway,
we did a press day, and then at the end of it, I was invited by Johnny to come up to his room and continue to talk. It was reconnection was almost instant. Chemistry. We sat on the couch and we talked, and it felt like there was an electricity to the room, and it's how I felt when I was alone with him anyway. And it was instant again. I was like, whoa. Instant again.
Guys, am I crazy, or do you hear the contradiction here? The whole first half of what she just said was painting him as this old, I was so worried and I didn't know what to do, and he was older and blah, blah, blah. And now she's telling the story, and it's instant connection again. Which fucking is it, Amber? Jesus Christ!
And as I went to leave, he grabbed both sides of my face and he kissed me, and I kissed him back. Well, then we fell in love. We went on this press tour.
It's the only part I believe.
City to the next, traveling around talking about
the only time she's telling the truth.
That we participated in together, and we were falling in love. I mean, it was just at the first dinner in London, he had me sat next to him at a dinner, and then we ended up spending the night together in my hotel room. And for the rest of the press tour, it was on. I'll put it that way.
It was on. Okay, so am I crazy? Good panel. Christopher, I know you got to go, but is this a good way to start her story? Which, do you hear that contradiction of just what she's clearly trying to paint him negatively? What are your thoughts?
I know, exactly. It's good that you're picking up on that, because it did sound more like, this was unwanted advances is what she was trying to say from the get-go. And but to me, again, it was a lost opportunity on her part. She knows that the jury's heard all this evidence, like we have, about her, including recordings of her attacking him. So she needed to address that up front. And then I'm willing to listen to her more. But again, she's on this whole victim parade. And I don't think we're ever going to hear her take accountability. And she's harming herself because she's closing herself off to the jurors and also addressing the jurors directly. I mean, she's looking right at them. And every once in a while you can do that. But the jurors are there wanting to observe her. Right. And now all of a sudden you got this creepy eye contact thing going on. And
which
that
juror
also
do you look
makes
at?
People, yeah, I just think like they want to watch her demeanor, but they don't want to make eye contact with her. It's really creepy. And now all of a sudden the jurors are like, well, kind of looking away. And that deprives them of their opportunity and right to observe her demeanor. So I think that they may find that intrusive, even though she's trying to use it to establish rapport.
Good note. Any other final words? I know you got to go.
No, I think that the cross-exam of Hughes was more interesting than her. We got, tomorrow, Thursday? So, we'll see if Johnny gets any cross. I'm worried they're going to run the clock on Johnny's team and not allow much of any cross so they get that 10-day break with unchallenged.
We shall see. Make sure to follow Christopher Melcher over on YouTube. You can follow him on Twitter at @CA_divorce mods. If you can, I know it's a lot of keep people there. Share the links. Thank you for being here, Christopher. Always a pleasure having you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher.
Love getting his insight here, but we still got some wonderful experts here to help me break the next clips down. Ladies, I want to get your thought on that clip. I mean, are you hearing the contradiction in Amber already?
I had one that jumped out at me immediately. And it was that when Amber is talking about falling in love with Johnny, she's constantly saying like, his generosity, how he made me laugh. We both like the same things. There's nothing unique about Johnny. When you ask me why I love my husband, I can tell you a million things about him that I love about him that have nothing to do with me. Because that's not the way that love works. It's not just about what they give you. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? It's a very selfish way of looking at it. And the other thing was right here with the trailer incident. This was when Johnny said that they kissed. And she did not recall this kiss. And I thought that was very interesting because I really think we are going to see a pattern here of her trying to show that she is just incapable of cheating on Johnny or cheating on anyone. And I feel like that's starting right now. Just my opinion. Andy, you're muted, I think.
All right, and I don't buy it for a second. I don't buy it for a second because we have the footage of her going in the elevator with Elon and with James Franco after hours with her in the towel. There's too many examples of it. I do have to say, my gosh, Daku Bara just dropped $200 on a super chat. So I will take a moment. I get to all your chats, but when you do a one like that, usually it's read by the robot, but oh my gosh, thank you so much, Daku. Daku said, the entire time I wanted to laugh at her terrible performance, but I found myself more angry and disgusted by it. Amber Turd, the girl who cried wolf, angry face, angry face, angry face. Daku, thank you. And well, agreed. We're all feeling it. Thank you for supporting what we're doing here. Amazing to see that kind of support here. Wow. And then we had a 50 earlier. I'm going to adventure in Laurel Land. Thank you so much. As a survivor of IPV, I am biased, but in my opinion, it isn't how AH described the situations, but what she decides to include and what she decides to not include that makes her so unbelievable. I've been through what she is describing, and it sounds scripted. There you go. A lot of victims coming forward. I wish there was a way to hashtag I believe you, or we don't. You know what I mean? I wish more victims would tag her and explain it, put it out there, so more people and people who really are affected can start getting it to her. Because I think the more of that we can get, the more we all unite, the more we can just really bring the truth to this. Because, man, we got a lot of survivors in this chat. I know a lot of you are angry, and I know a lot of you are you're the type of people we're all the type of people that want to believe people, right? That want to be there and support. And, man, Amber's not getting it. Amber's not getting it. We do have a special guest who's going to join us. I'm actually excited about this. We have a guest who has known and met Amber. So that'll even be more interesting to hear her insight. Amy Goodwin, her neighbor who was there in the facility, will be joining us in a minute. She's getting her setup ready. So I'm excited because stay tuned. We'll have some insight as we watch these clips to help us get a little bit more insight since we've never actually met her in person, and she has. Very much looking forward to that. So come on in, Amy. I just sent you the link when you're ready. All right, we have a lot more to watch, guys.
Before we go on to the other clip.
Yes, go, Steph.
That one that we've just seen there. Let me put it this way, and how screwed are we, or do I have to be careful with what I say?
Be careful. We might get away with it. I can't tell yet, but go ahead.
Let's see if we could get away with it. All right then. If a dude is coming up to me, and he's all unwanted advances, and he's being creepy AF, and being an absolute div, and it's happened a few times in the past, each and every time I tell him to go do one in the most strongest possible terms. I tell them to F off. I tell them to go F themselves. I tell them to go do one. Like, I am proper, like, I'm not here for that BS. There's a way that you approach women. There's a way that you approach me. And you doing it that way ain't really getting me go. Therefore, do one. Vamoose. Out of it. I am never, ever going to reconsider them as a potential partner. Because the first thing I see of them and they're being all creepy and stuff, that's probably going to turn me off. I'm sorry, that ain't happening. Yeah. So, her turning around and saying, oh, he's creepy, this, that, and the other, and then all of a sudden they fall in love. You what, lass? No. No, my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Again, her face is a butt. Cheeks going like that, and a lot of BS coming out. A little bit more projectile this time, with a little bit of slushiness, I think. She might be a little bit constipated in terms of her words coming out. All over that car, I feel sorry for him.
Holy shit, we got another $200 super chat from the Imp.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
I gotta do it. Thank you. Oh my god, the Imp didn't even say anything. All right, let's keep the $200 club going. Who's gonna match it? Holy crap.
Crazy.
2 in a row. That's insane. Thank you so much for your support, Imp, for our coverage. And there was 150 I did just see. I tried it when there's big. I try to stop to thank you guys because you're really there. And I assure you I will get to all comments, but I try to get at least the summary done first. But Susan G asked, hey guys, I'm a little late, but can you ask Christopher about the green folder and not disclosing the notes? Could she get disqualified? I did talk to him about that before. I think it was before we went to air.
Yeah, just before we went
live. He
live.
did say... He agreed something there was sus. I didn't get to ask him, could she be disqualified? But I just texted because I'm curious too. So when I get that answer, I will give that to you. So good question, Susan G. Thank you for your support in getting that over. So if I hear a word back from him, I'll let you know. But he did agree. It was also the way that, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, the Hughes was reading a lot of notes and she was getting called out for it. And then they were saying we want to get copies, and Elaine got very protective. Elaine was like, well, she'll need the notes for tonight, and then rushed over. And if you watch my last video, which I implore you go see and share so we can get the word out, she was putting her notes immediately into a green folder, and then when she gave the notes to Johnny's team, it was in a different navy blue folder. So kudos to the TikTokers, whoever noticed it, but we didn't see the final thing. I don't know if the green folder eventually came out too. I hope it did. But from what the clips we saw, it definitely looked suspect. It looked like she was not giving them the same files. And that worries me because did she have some sort of script notes that she was trying to hide in that other folder? Because that's not allowed. That she wouldn't be allowed to do it. So could she be disqualified? I asked Christopher. We will find out. But thank you for that question. All right. And meanwhile, the poll, 90% are not believing Amber. 8% are still unsure. 2% said she's very credible. Wow, 2%. That's not very good, Amber. It's not looking good. The court of public opinion. All right, let's play this next clip. We got a lot of Amber to go through. Sorry.
It was always intense. It didn't become intense. It almost started that way. When I was with him, I felt that electricity in my body. I felt like butterflies. I couldn't see straight practically. It was just, I was head over heels in love. And he felt like that to me. He felt like he was also in love. I didn't feel like he was faking it. I felt like what we had, it felt like to me at the time, there wasn't any love like that, And then he started to kind of do this thing again where he'd disappear.
Go to work, you mean?
Come back, and I remember at first when he first started drinking, I didn't really think much of it, but all of a sudden the behavior kind of started to go in line with the disappearing, and he'd come back and he'd just be different. And I'd say something and he'd accuse me of saying something else or saying it in a different way, or he would, it was mostly my clothing at the time and me working. That was the main thing. Like, I found myself trying to not talk about auditions because it would change the mood so dramatically. I tried to, he would make these comments about, whoring myself out, but do so in the context of me acting, and he would talk about other actresses who do my role.
She's telling this story so badly. It's like so disjointed and
in this way where.
And this is the abuse. Okay.
They were worthless whores. They were, fame hungry, expletive, just this. The point is, it felt really dirty to be an actor. Never mind that he was one. It was dirty that I wanted to do this job that I wanted to do, and I was doing the job of an actress. It was everything every time I was walking out of the house, he would ask me, "That's really what you're wearing, kid? Oh, I see." I wore a dress to an event once, and I felt beautiful in it. Like, stupid as that sounds, I felt pretty in this dress I picked out, and
I like Kim's motions.
I showed it him because it's a carpet, it's red carpet, so it's like, publicized.
I thought it looked so pretty. I'm gonna cry.
It was weird. He wasn't saying anything about it. I left him to go do this red carpet, and I was like, "Did you see the event I went to?" Basically, I felt pretty, and I thought, like, "Did you see that?" I wanted him to say something about that, I guess.
Oh, the horrors.
And
what a monster.
Said, well, this is after he stopped talking to me for some time, didn't tell me why. When he came back in my life, he wouldn't explain why he was acting different. He just kind of acted mad at me, didn't know what I had done wrong. And when I brought up the dress and the event, because it was an event to support a charity I was really involved with at the time, and I said, "Did you see that thing?" And he said, yeah, I think the whole world saw that, kid. That's how they'll remember you. That's how the world will remember you. And I was like, oh, come on. I mean, it's like, but I felt good in it. I felt good. And he said, "Yeah, kid, that's what you're putting out there in the world. No one will ever forget that, and that's all they'll see you as. That's what you wanted. That's what you were going for. My dress was low cut. I get it, it's low cut. But I felt, I felt really embarrassed and horrible that I wore that. I felt like, how could I have made that choice? Of course, he's right. You start to believe it. I started to believe that made a lot of sense, of course.
What is she talking about? Why not? So he called. Yeah, Kim. Okay, I got a lot of thoughts, but I'll go to the ladies first. Kim, please.
Okay, two things quickly. I made notes during this part because I was just losing it, and I said in the chat, I noticed she kept on saying these things like, "It sounds so silly," or "It sounds so stupid," and it just sounds so like this is court, not Dawson's Creek, and I don't understand why she's conducting herself in this manner on the stand. I don't know if anybody else saw that. I felt like I was watching Bella Swan talk the entire time. It was just like, what is happening? And then the other thing I kind of just wanted to mention was that Johnny talked about this a little bit in his testimony. And he was saying that Amber had been expressing that she was concerned about her credibility as an actress, which I believe based on audio we've heard from her and how important her credibility was to her. And that she wanted to be taken more seriously as an actress. And Johnny was like, well, yeah, if you want to be taken more seriously as an actress, there's things that you have to do in this town. You don't take certain roles and you have to show yourself in a certain manner. Is it sexist? Yes, absolutely. But is it reality? Yeah. Absolutely. So I almost wonder if those comments, if they are 100% true, were they made from that perspective? That it was like, Amber, if you want to be taken seriously as an actress, you can't dress like that when you go out to award shows and things like that, because people are just going to think that's all you are.
I wanted to say that without getting in trouble, but I'm like, couldn't he have said those words in a way where maybe he was right? Like, couldn't he have had a serious conversation with his partner? Like, really want to go out in that? Like, you want to be doing this role, and don't you want to be looked up as this and not the sex symbol Amber Heard that's in Drive Angry? Don't you want to be in more serious roles? And maybe they were having that back and forth. So I don't believe this, I don't believe this Johnny Depp who's like, no, you look like a whore. Don't go out like that. And then leaving with a cigar. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
And in all honesty, that is even something that Marilyn Monroe had to deal with. She fully stopped her career and went to New York to study in the best drama school she could get into after she already had a career, because she wanted people to take her more seriously. And she knew that people just looked at her as this symbol, and she wanted to change it. Yes, that was a long time ago, but there's still a lot of that stuff that's still here. And I wonder if that was the context, and that's the context we're missing, because that to me jumped out immediately.
Yeah, no, well said. Steph, you were reacting for the first time. Do you agree with us? You got any thoughts to add?
I'm still confused.
On what?
How is she part of this survivorship? No, seriously, because, okay, you are saying, right, she's saying that he's done things to her with a freaking
Here comes
ball.
a rant.
This is unbelievable. She's saying that Johnny Depp has done things to her with a bottle, whether it's broken or not. Who the frick knows at this point? Apparently, he's done things to her with a bottle. Let's put it that way. Anyone in the chat that's been following this trial, you know what I'm talking about. She says that he's been physically not nice to her, essayed her, all this lot, blah, 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 blah. And she's starting off her testimony with, oh my goodness, I was at this event and I wore this pretty dress and I felt so damn pretty. But you know what? Johnny Depp, when I got back to him, he didn't really compliment me the way that I wanted to be complimented. Therefore, he is an evil monster in the whole wide freaking world. Who the hell is this woman? Who the frick is she? You say that she's attacked you with a bottle, inserting it in ways that you don't really want it inserted, SA'd you, DV'd you, done so much to you that's bad on paper, right? And your first part of the testimony is to say that he didn't compliment you the way that you wanted to when you were at an event. She's freaking kidding me. Who the frick? If I went on that stand, right, I would go. I'm sorry, but I'd go. Right, let's put it this way, right? If I was ever lucky enough in my life to be able to be in a position where I had a freaking chance against my monster, that it was a more than a he said, she said thing. I had physical evidence, right? And I went on that stand, I'd be like, right, this was the first time he did this to me. Awful, and he did this, and he did this, and he did this. But I won't be like, well, you know, he kind of did. No, I would be giving the, for want of a better word, tea, if that makes sense. Like the real, visceral truth of the matter of what happened. Not freaking I'm wearing a pretty dress and he didn't compliment me the way that I wanted him to. The freaking hell. What the hell is this testimony? I don't get it.
Steph,
I don't get it.
It hurts her feelings. Look at her. It made her sad.
Oh, yeah. She looks freaking constipated right now.
Well, we have a special guest. We have a special guest that just joined in the chat. I got to unmute you. Oh, my gosh. Here we go. This person has actually met Miss Heard. And you guys, a million of you watch this video. I don't know if she was prepared for it, but we have Amy Goodwin back on the show. What's up, Amy? How are you?
Hey, I can't see me. Can you see me?
We can see you. Can you see us?
We can see you.
Yeah,
okay, good.
I have so much more tea to spill about shit that went on the Eastern. I've spoken to neighbors. Actually, right here with me, actress Anne H.
What?
What?
Oh, my God. From Donnie Brasco?
Hello.
Yes, from Johnny Brasco and a million other thing.
Holy shit!
Hi guys.
Hey, Ann, what's up?
Lovely to meet you.
Because
Hey, lass.
Amy's my bestie, and I live in the Eastern too. Shh,
Yeah.
don't tell anybody.
Oh my
But
God!
she-
Well, what an honor to
also
have you
lived-
both.
She also lived in the penthouse that Whitney lived in. You look so pretty.
Oh well,
This
thanks.
is how we photobomb each other.
By the way, Amy gave me this beautiful top hat. I just wanted to jump in and say, hi, there's no friggin' way, that man has mistreated a woman. I will tell you that. There is no friggin' way. And I have met her, and she wears a lot of Gucci in that courtroom. Hey, if you're suing somebody, you may not want to wear all those collars. Bye!
Bye. I love you too. So, I am telling the truth. Hey, Steph.
Oh my God!
Amy, lovely to finally meet you, lad.
Did you?
like
We just got an
iconic.
exclusive. We got the star,
Sorry
Donnie.
about that.
First of all, please
No,
make
don't
sure.
be sorry. That was great.
Make sure
Oh,
Ann
yeah,
knows
that was
I'm got a fan boy. Ann is so amazing in that movie with Donnie Brasco. Such an underrated movie, and I'm not shitting anybody. I want to make sure this is very clear. Hold on.
No, Anne is the best. Anne is the best. I love you too. I'll see you. Mwah. Bye. Sorry, I had to run down to Anne's because the video that we did, my Wi-Fi was spotty, so...
Look at this. I'm not bullshitting anybody.
He's not.
I'm sending
He's
that to
not.
get
And
signed.
He's holding up the DVD. He's holding up
The VHS.
the VHS. He's got it right now. She said, "No way."
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, there she is laying with Johnny Depp. Oh my God, my audience is very jealous of Ann. They're very jealous. But anyway, wow, Rob, thank her for me. That was very nice, and I'm glad she's supporting Johnny. Look what you get here on Popcorn Planet, the exclusives. But Amy, I know Ann
Talk to me.
Ann didn't know her. She didn't interact, but you did. You got to see Miss Heard. Did you get to watch today's testimony?
Of course I did. I took notes. I did not pass notes like they were in court, but I took notes. What the hell was that about? What the?
Yeah.
So I took notes. I wanted to text you yesterday. I was actually so upset the whole day after Dr. Hughes. I know it's Dr. Hughes. I call her Dr. Huge because she has huge lies. I was so upset I couldn't even speak. I mean, Dr. freaking Huge, man. What the hell? All of the cheating in court. Oh, so much. I've spoken to other neighbors here at the Eastern Columbia that also lived here or live here that were also here for the incident. I spoke to our concierge, who was actually in the video of the cops video. I'm not going to say her name because she's a little low key, but she was working the other day and she's in those videos. You see the woman who fought the key for the elevator.
Yep.
Anyway, so we were hanging out at the front desk 2 days ago, and I said, "Hey, have you gotten dragged into this? Do you do testimony?" She goes, she said, "Anyone would be a fool to believe Amber Heard because we were all here." So anyway, she works here and she was there in that video and she was working the night of the incident. But yeah, oh my gosh. So Andy, remember when I was on your show and
Yes.
we talked about
Thank you for
Elon
coming on the
Musk?
show. Yes.
Remember we talked about like Elon Musk and I was like, I didn't know who he was. I don't know what the frick he looks like, blah, blah, blah. So yesterday morning, downstairs in the Eastern Columbia, I ran into a neighbor who was a fan of this show, who was a fan of Popcorn Planet. Hi, neighbor.
Hello, neighbor.
Hi.
Whoever you are.
She's
Kick.
like, over 1 million people saw you on this show, and I watch it. I was like, yeah, man, Andy's the best, and Steph and everyone. And she said, I've been here since 2012. And I was like, yeah, we see each other all the time. She said, I think it was really funny what you said about Elon Musk. She goes, I've seen him in the elevator multiple times during all of the Johnny days. And I was like, shut up. I didn't even know what he looked like back then. Like, I said he was just like some white dude, like a tall white dude.
Whoa.
But anyway, so everyone here is spilling the tea. I was furious yesterday. There were so many things. Today, it was just too much. I took notes.
Well, I mean, all right, well, hold on. I'm gonna have to follow up on that. I have to clip that for. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna follow up with Amy after this, so you guys get that exclusively because she's got more tea to spill. But oh my God, I gotta get that off so I can line up the dates and figure out what that means because that means something.
Can you hit the exclusive button?
Yes, I have it. Hold on. Hold on.
We will talk after the show.
Exclusive.
I also have, by the way.
Objection. Hearsay.
Wait, it's not. I gotta make them louder. I have this too.
Couch. Give me couch.
I gotta make them louder.
Green couch.
I gotta still make them louder, but here we go. All right, I think this will work.
Couch. Give me couch.
Couch. Green couch.
Correct.
It starts sounding like
That
something
sounds
else.
like a frog.
Correct.
Sounds like
Ribbit.
Oh my
It's like
God.
Elaine jumping. It's the froggy hop.
Correct.
Objection. Hearsay.
Wait, I gotta get these louder. But you just answered your own question. Anyway, I'm trying to get more of them in here. They are coming. More and more.
Oh gosh.
More sound bites. There they go. All right, but yes, sorry, I did get distracted. Yes, so all right, we have more clips we were gonna watch. Do you have notes? But here, let me play the next clip because we talked about that beginning moment.
A jar.
A jar of cocaine
on the table. I realize that sounds weird, but it's like an actual vintage jar of it. You know, he's drinking and we're talking and there's music playing. And I asked him about the tattoo he has on his arm. I didn't know what it said. And I said, what does it say? And he said, it says wino. And I laughed and slapped me across the face. And I laughed. I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. I thought this must be a joke because I didn't know what was going on. I just stared at him, kind of laughing still, thinking that he was going to start laughing too to tell me it was a joke. But he didn't. He said, you think it's so funny? You think it's funny? You think you're a funny? And he slapped me again. It wasn't a joke anymore. And I stopped laughing, but I didn't know what else to do. He slapped me for no reason, it seemed like, and I missed the point. Second slap, I know he's not kidding, so I just stared at him. I just stared at him because I didn't know what else to do. And he slaps me one more time. I wish so much he had said he was joking, because it didn't hurt. Why I never noticed that the carpet was so filthy before. And how much time do I have till I figure out what I need to do? God, did he just hit me? No, I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want this to be the reality. Have the man I was in love with come back from that. You know, not dumb. You can't hit a woman. You can't hit a man. You can't just hit somebody because I knew there was no. I knew it was. That I had to leave him.
What? I can't hit a woman? I can't hit a man? What is she?
That's broke my heart. I had to leave him.
Well, I mean, she would know that. She got arrested for it.
She's just so lost in the. She's like, I'm almost at the tears. I think I might have a tear coming out. But no tears, no tears. Oh wait.
And I wish I could have stood up and I walked.
It's all the Botox, right? Is that what? Doesn't the Botox? Does that make the crying a little harder to do? It does, right? Because Amy's the one who revealed it. That those scars sure look like Botox scars. She can't cry as much as she used to. Oh, what did you buy it?
Looking at the dirty carpet, trying to will myself to get up. It's done.
Wow, she's really bad. She's so bad.
Do you think she did this in the attorney's office, guys? Look at Kim. Kim's just like, do you think there was a moment in the attorney's office where all right, try one more time, Amber, action? Do you think they were being that explicit about it?
For once in my life, I'm actually speechless. That's the best screen freeze right there.
You saw her, so I mean, you're the only one here who's actually met her. You've engaged with her a few times.
Met her a bunch of times.
What? But give me your genuine. You're not buying it. This seems completely bullshit to you.
Okay, well, what I know, we all loved, but what I know Elaine really probably coached her on was, let's talk about your past and what you studied in school. And she goes on about, well, I studied makeup and makeup design as well as acting. Like, is that supposed to let us lead back to the Elaine makeup stuff? Like,
Probably.
Ooh, she's a makeup expert too. Girl, bye. Those cheekbones. I can't.
Makeup expert my backside if she's using Milani. I mean, no disrespect, but I mean, come on.
Come on.
That's supposed to, that's
$5.99
pigmented enough to cover so-called bruises and all that BS? Yeah, shut the front door on the way out, lass. What the hell? That's nuts. To me, this, again, as actual real, unfortunately, member of the survivorship community, again, this testimony doesn't make sense because she's like, you know, I'm focusing on the carpet and how dirty it is, this, that, and the other. But she's not actually then talking about, like, what she's feeling, as in, I was scared, I was shocked, it hurt, I don't know where it came from. Like, there's none of that. It's just, you know what, I noticed that the carpet was dirty as it knocked me on the floor. That's literally what she's just said there. And to me, again, that don't make sense.
You know what cracked me up when she was talking about, Steph, when she was talking about, well, Johnny's very different on Adderall than he is on alcohol. And then she goes, he's very different on Quaaludes.
I was like,
all right.
I was like, come on.
I was like, who has been able to get Quaaludes since the 1980s? Like, who wrote this? Did Elaine write this?
It's like she watched The Wolf of Wall Street and was like, oh, let's put Quaaludes in it too. Because she's been pulling from Gone Girl.
Man. That made me laugh.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like you gotta laugh or it gets really depressing. If we don't laugh about this, it's really, really depressing because this is gonna set this sets victims back. What she's doing right now, it's not good. So here, I think this is. Did we play this one already?
Then the punching of the walls next to my head which is a constant at that time in 2012 when he was drinking.
What's with the hair? Can we talk about the hair? Why this hairstyle, guys? I'm a guy. I don't really think about it much, but what do you think was the reasoning for her to do this? To look more like normal, less makeup?
No, I thought she brought her hair down because she's been all tight with the braids, I think she brought it down in case, like, she couldn't, really express emotion crying. She could kind of hide behind it,
yeah.
like acting, because we've all been analyzing her facial expressions. So maybe she thought if her hair was down, I don't know.
I feel like she couldn't commit to one hairstyle, so she did one on each side.
Or she's trying to follow the foxy Dr. Curry.
She can do whatever she wants with her hair. It's gonna look great.
Seriously, that girl is such a babe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Doctor. Well, and so John's got a lot of people speculating that what's her name, Vasquez, the lawyer, who is clearly the one who I think is going to be going against Amber because she's the one who keeps objecting. They're wondering if her and Johnny have been an item. But hey, yeah, a lot of amazing women on this team, and Amber's team not as much. All right, here let's keep going with this.
Eventually, that became. Him accusing me of cheating. I'd defend myself. I'd say, that's crazy. You're wrong. I would never. The normal things. And it would escalate to the point where he would push me or shove me down, and then I'd get back up. And this happened several times. That's why it's not more specific, I suppose. When I'd get back up, I'd look him in the eye. I made a point of getting up and looking him in the eye. It's my way of defending myself at that time.
She doesn't look people in the eye. I can tell you that. She does not make, I said that on my last thing. She does not make eye contact with people.
So that's a complete lie too.
She looks over them.
This eye contact with the jury is probably the first time she's ever done that, having to look at regular people.
I wanted to go again.
Regular mere mortals.
He shoved me back down. Eventually, it just hit me. Remember, he hit me in the face when I denied having an affair with my ex-wife, my ex-partner at the time. And he said he had proof. I denied it. And I was walking out of the bedroom, slapped me across the face. I turned to look at him. And I said, Johnny, you hit me. You just hit me.
I'm going to ask you, Michelle, can you bring up 1783, please?
What number again, please?
I'm sorry.
What number?
Defendants 1783.
1783. Thank you.
I think that's the end of the clip. No, it's just ridiculous, right? It's so weird. It's so weird. Amy, when you saw that, what were you thinking other than the eye contact thing?
I mean, it's just such bullshit. Like, I have lived here for 8 years more. And like what she is doing right now it's just the worst performance. I mean, she talks about having bit roles in movies and stuff. All of us who witnessed Johnny, I always saw him the same way. Chill, quiet, you know. If he did that many drugs and that much uppers and this and that, like, you would notice that. So, I don't know. I just think that her performance is, once again, terrible. And I think within this trial, this will be just another bit role for her. And then she'll be over. She'll be canceled.
Yeah, I think she really underestimated her ability to do this. And I think regardless of what the verdict is, people aren't going to want to be associated with her after this. And I think Johnny has enough fans that people won't care. They're going to want to hire him if people buy tickets. And I don't think anyone's going to be rushing to buy tickets to Amber Heard's movies. This was a complete bad call on her part. She should have figured when she shouldn't have made the op-ed in the first place. She made off with all that money and she couldn't resist. That's what's so disgusting about this in the first place. And then she just kept going and then brought it back again. Really sickening. Here's some more sickening. Get ready.
And I remember I got away from him enough as he reels back. I threw it in his direction and actually managed to get away before he got me. He grabbed me by the arm.
Dude, that could be a shadow. That could be a million things on there that I have no idea what that is.
I got a bruise like that with the pool door. We have these really super heavy doors, and I got 2 bruises there because the door is so heavy and iron that when you go to the pool, once it shut on me, my ex-girlfriend accused me of having like rough sex with some other bitch. No,
it's just a pool door.
Sure,
Amy. Yeah, some pool door.
It's the pool door. It is. I should have taken photos of the bruises. They were like here and here. They look just like that. It's
and it's crazy because she talks about how she like got punched in the face. I guess we lost the demon. It is what it is. If I say that, we're gone. So thank you for supporting. Share the video because I want to get this out. But when she talks about getting punched in the face, hello, I see your face. He's got rings. It makes no damn sense, girl. If he's punching you with those rings, you would be a mess. You would be a mess. But this is what we got as she's describing what happened here. I'm confused.
Before he got me, he grabbed me by the arm, and he kind of just held me on the floor, screaming at me. I don't know how many times he hit me in the face, but I remember being on the floor in my apartment.
But never.
How many times? I don't remember how many times. Hello, your face is right there, and he wears rings, and we're supposed to believe that's the damage from this scene.
And that's not even like finger. That does not look like a bruise from a grab at all. Not even close. I'm not a medical professional, but that is not for sure.
And I remember thinking, how could this happen to me again?
Here it comes.
Bring up 170.
Look at her trying to tear up. Still can't do it. Okay, I can't do it, so I'll just strengthen up and not make a single tear. Oh my God, it's so fake.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. Like she just really thought she could pull this off, and it's like, no one's buying it, girl. Look at that again. Watch this like turn.
Can you bring up 170?
Can I get there? No, I can't. So I gotta just shake it off. Be strong, Amber. Be strong. Oh.
Let's get an acting coach on the show. Let me see if one of my neighbors. Let me see. There's so many artists in the building. Let me see if one of my neighbors, who's an actual professional acting coach, can do an analysis of this video.
It. We need an acting coach to coach Amber on her acting. Stephanie's back. Stefania's back. What's up, Steph?
Hi. Twice on the trot. My internet's conked out.
Yeah, you need to go. We need to go.
Be having a word with EE tomorrow. My
Do it.
goodness.
Well, you get to watch the final cry. Here, you ready, Steph? Here she is trying to eke out the final cry.
by
Right.
June, I was so torn. I was so in love with this person. Because when it was good, it was so good.
So good.
You've never felt love like that. At least that's how it felt.
I thought he was like creepy and old and bothering you and obsessed. Which one is it? Make up your freaking mind.
So much.
Here they are.
I felt like he recognized me and I recognized him, and there was just something.
I felt like he recognized me, and I have to say that I recognized him too, otherwise I'll sound very selfish.
There that was the love of my life. And he was. He was. But he was also this other thing.
This is worse than one of those telenovelas. This is like a telenovela in Brazil, like when they're like, please, here's my evil twin, please. I've never had so much love. I mean, this is the level of acting that we're looking at right now is.
See, I don't even want to say D-list.
No.
It's below the D-list.
This is below. This is below.
Kathy Griffin could act circles around this.
It was also this other thing. And that other thing was awful. Awful thing that would come out and take over, and it was, you couldn't see the Johnny I loved underneath it. It was this other thing. And no one told him. No one was honest with him. No one, he'd pass out in his own vomit. He'd lose control of his body, he'd lose control, and everyone would clean up after him. I cleaned up after him. I mean, this man lost control.
You pooped
of his bowels.
in the
I cleaned
bed!
up after him.
She's totally doing this to try and justify it. See, guys, I really think she's trying to do this to make it sense. See, Johnny pooped too.
His security cleaned up after him, changed his pants in front of me. He would pass out in his own sick. And then he'd walk around saying he didn't have a problem. Until he did. Until he couldn't support it anymore, and he'd get clean and he'd get sober, and then he was this thing again. This thing that made me feel so loved, that made me feel like my soulmate. As cheesy as that sounds, I just felt like he knew me.
Don't insult cheese.
Recognize something in him.
Cheese is good. You are bad.
Makeup and my background or something that I just got it, and I loved him and understood him. It just got so scary, the other part of him. And in June, I wanted to leave him. I didn't want to leave him. I wanted to leave him. I wanted him to get better. And he expressed to me so many times when he was in that period of getting clean and sober, he would tell me, "You saved my life. Baby
Do you think
girl,
anyone's buying
my
this?
life."
Like, I wish we could see the jury right now.
Everyone
Like,
else is saying that to
like,
me.
I wish we could see the faces of the jury. Do you think anyone is buying this, Andy?
I mean, I do think there's people in the world who believe all women. There are. I mean, sadly, it's a thing, and I understand why. But she's exploiting it, and that's why I can't believe all women, because of women like Amber Heard. She's now soured it, right? And but the reality is, she does have some fans. She does have people. They've come at. They hate on me. They hate on any of us supporters of Johnny. That no. He's a jerk. I believe her. She must be telling the truth. They still believe it about my accuser, even though I dropped all the receipts and proved the story. So yeah, I mean, sadly, there are people who will believe her. I just hope not the freaking jury. But it's hard to tell. I mean, I'm seeing through it, but we've been following this case so clearly. The jury doesn't know all the details. The jury doesn't know all her sneaky shenanigans in the court, right? The jury gets protected from a lot of that. So unless some of these juries snuck in knowing more, which some of them may have, I hope. Don't ever say anybody, but if you did, but who knows? It seems hard to believe anybody would have known more about this case going in, but these people claim they didn't.
You know, if everyone else was saying it, he was saying it. I thought, just like his other friends who had gotten clean and sober and stayed that way, his older friends, these rock stars that he hung out with that had like gotten clean and sober and they had 20, 30 years, something, you know, I thought, and Johnny told me he would be that person, that he was going to be that person, and I believed it. I had so much, I looked at that man, twice my age, you know.
There it is again.
25.
I was just poor 25-year-old me. He was old man.
This man twice my age, and I saw hope and like promise. I had so much hope. You know, the whole thing. Kids and growing old together, sort of hope. If it was just for this one thing that he could do.
Couch. You know, the beginning of her testimony today, she talked about how she grew up and her childhood and getting out of small town Texas. I think she shot herself in the foot because she was literally saying how ambitious she is and that she would do anything to get a role and that she would take small parts and no job was too small for her. And that like when she showed like how ambitious that she would, you know, just do anything to like get out of that small town and any little job and anything to move to Los Angeles. I think she shot herself in the foot there because you're like, yeah, what else would you do, you pretty girl?
Good point. Yeah, good note. Did you guys notice that too? Cam or Steph, any other thoughts as you're watching this atrocity on your screens?
So she's turning around, right, and she's saying, when he was good, he was good. And when he was bad, he was bad. And when he was bad and he was on all these illicit substances, we all had to clean up after him, and no one in his inner circles dared to say no, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, nowhere in there did she then say, when he was bad, he did X, Y, and Z to me. I'm sorry, but that's a little bit of a what is it to miss out there when your whole freaking argument is that he was physically and intimately not freaking very nice to you in the first place. Interesting how she freaking left that out. Oh no, instead, the main thing about him when he was in his bad mood, bad stages, was that she had to clean up after him. What? Do you see where I'm coming from here? This testimony, what's coming out of her gob, is freaking insane. Again, it don't make sense to me, because if I was on that stand, I'd be like, you know, of course, it'd be true, I wouldn't be lying here. In the sense of, you know, and when he took illicit substances, this, that, and the other, he did this to me, and he did this to me, and it hurt because he did this, and he did this, and he did this, and he did this. Not be like, oh, I had to freaking clean up after him, and then that's it. Well, hang on a minute, what about all the other allegations that you said that he did?
Steph, look how many people, look how many witnesses that she had before she testified. One, who was a fucking bullshit, Dr. Hughes. And, like, Johnny had all of these people who told the truth, testified under oath to show this. Like, even her own friends won't testify because they know she's lying. All the people that I saw in the pool parties, all her besties, all the people that were around her to make her feel gorgeous and beautiful and special. No one has come up as a witness except for Dr. Hughes.
Yeah.
Huge liar.
Yeah. But
Dr. Hughes lied.
But Amy, the other thing as well that doesn't make sense in terms of what she said there is that during Johnny's side of things, when he was making his case, this, that, and the other, her lawyers were at pains to try and make some kind of cockamamie screwed up connection that because he took illicit substances and he drank like a freaking fish, it meant that he was physically and now intimately not very nice to Amber Heard, right? She had an opportunity there to turn around and say, when he was in that state, yeah, he had to clean up after him, but guess what? All this other stuff happened as well, and she didn't do that. What? I'm sorry, but this to me, my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, again, there's something wrong with this picture. It don't make sense what's coming out of a gob. It really doesn't, and it infuriates me. It goes back to my original main point out of all this. When people lie on the stand about SA and DV, it makes it more difficult for us real victims to actually get justice against our monsters, because it creates further doubt in towards our community of who's actually telling the truth and who's not. Special place in hell. Special place in hell for mofos like them. Special place in hell.
Steph, what made me so angry, and also, like, I have been in a position as well as you, of being a victim of domestic abuse. I am a lesbian, if you couldn't tell from my hat.
I don't assume, but fair play, lass, fair play. I am not, but I'm open to suggestion.
But the thing is, yesterday, what made me so upset listening to Dr. Hughes was, you know, she talked about, every single time she talked about a victim, it was she, her pronouns. Every single time she talked about an abuser, it was he, him pronouns, not related to Amber and Johnny, just generalizing. And then she said yesterday, oh, well, in 1998, I had a same-sex couple. That's what she said. In 1998, she had a same-sex couple. Then today, she said, oh, it was a male couple. So she still won't admit that women can be abusers. And when I was in an abusive relationship with a woman, I tried to complain. I tried to talk to my doorman to get her keys back for me. And you know what they said? They thought it was two girls in a cat fight. They didn't take it seriously. And I had this woman hold me down. I had to hide in my building. I had to hide in a sauna within a gym with the lights off. She would punch walls. She would throw things. She would scream. She wouldn't let me break up with her. And she tried to kidnap my dog. If I was not in this abusive relationship, and that's what infuriated me yesterday, I won't go on and on, but that she would not admit that a woman could be an abuser. And then today she said, oh yes, I spoke about a same-sex or abusive relationship of two men. So it just made me feel like, what about, like, let's talk about the real deal. If you're an expert on you know, a domestic abuse in couples, and you can't admit once that a woman can be an abuser, I really got upset. I got emotional. I didn't talk to you guys. I didn't text you because I was like just so angry the whole day, because I went through that once, and people look at it as like, oh, a cat fight, a little bitch slap, a little. They don't take it serious. And right now, people are not taking it. Well, people are not. Well, the whole reason this court case is happening even is because they're not looking at her as an abuser yet, and they should.
Time, I eventually.
That's nice, by the way, with the Pinocchio.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're looking at her like this.
But Amy, whilst we're looking at her like this, yesterday I found an article live when we were on air that Dr. Hughes, I'm calling her Dr. Hughes now, I'm following your lead on that. Well done, lass. Respect.
Dr. Hughes liar.
Huge liar.
Respect. Dr. Hughes, my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, she just says what she wants to say based on who's paying her. Again, that's my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Opinions are not facts. Now, the article that I found was she was an expert witness in the, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm going to spell it, the NXIVM trial, which was, I believe, huge in America at one point. I mean,
yeah, it was like an HBO show. It was a cult with a bunch of celebrities, and Keith Raniere,
Yeah, I mean, it even crossed the pond over here where we started to hear about it. You know it's huge when UK representative is about what's going on over there. And she turns round and she describes the fact that monsters can gaslight. Monsters are gaslighters. It's interesting how she can identify the gaslighters in that NXIVM trial, Nixvium whatever trial, right? Yet the obvious gaslighter here, it might be a conspiracy theory or whatever, Ms. Amber Heard, she's like, oh no, she's an angel. she's part of the survivorship community. It's like butter won't melt, no flies on her shiz don't stink. Like, you freaking what? I'm sorry, but who have we got on tape that's literally said to Johnny, I have physically not been nice to you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. And who have we got on tape who's turned around and said, do you know what? Tell your damn story, but who's going to believe you? Who is going to believe the likes of you? I'm sorry, but Miss Dr. Huge, whatever, she needs to just freaking go back to freaking school and redo a whole PhD situation that she's got. Because quite clearly, it might be a conspiracy theory, whatever, Amber's a freaking gaslighter and she's not identifying that. Yet she could clearly do it in the NX IVM trial. Yeah.
Did all of your jaws drop when she actually admitted that she had never met Johnny Depp? Like, she's making an assessment as an expert, an expert witness on these relationships that you assess. And she never met him once. My jaw was on the floor.
And then when she does, she tries to paint it like, oh, leave me alone, you creepy man. Bullshit. She was all over that. She was all over that. I don't buy it for a second. Hey, there was a good tweet that just wanted to make sure I mentioned the it's all angry. Where's the trauma and the pain? Even your own tears let you down and won't come out because you're a pathological liar. Meanwhile, Johnny couldn't even glance at her because exactly he's the real victim here. And all these, like, look at all this anger in her. Like, I don't know. That's just. She's so aggressive. Even when she's trying to play the victim, she's an aggressive victim. It's just weird. It's one thing if she was like screaming at Johnny, right? Like, how dare you? Like, but it wasn't that. It was her telling the story to the jury, and she couldn't even keep her own anger in check because that's all she is angry all the damn time. Oh, there's so much more we're talking about. I just want to make sure I've plugged all you guys as well. Make sure you go support It's Kim on YouTube. One word, It's Kim. It's Kim. You haven't had a chance to talk. Anything you want to add to this? I got more clips and stuff to play, but I do want to try and trim this episode. Anything you want to add, Kim?
I think the only thing I really wanted to say is we've got 40,000 people in here, which is wild. It's crazy.
So go subscribe to It's Kim and get her watch hours up so she can monetize.
Please. Thank you guys all for being here. This has been crazy, and we see all the support in the chat as well, and I think we all really do appreciate it. At least I know I do when I see you guys talk about and supporting survivors and letting us tell our stories in our own words and being so supportive. It means a lot.
And speaking of supportive, make sure you also support Steph, the Alter Nerds YouTube channel. Steph, there it is. You got some good stuff coming up, right?
Yeah, so I got a few more rants in me in regards to the Amber Turd situation. So if you like what's coming out of my gob and you want it on the daily, served with a bit of gobbiness and sassiness, yeah, jump on over to my channel, hit that lovely subscribe button. My aim is 20,000, little mini goal there. So help me get there.
And I see,
and you'll get more rants.
Yeah, please, all the rants, get them all over there. And I see so many people are like, oh my god, I want to be friends with Amy. I'm so glad I got to meet her and we have gotten friendly. But if you want to be friends, I don't know, but you can at least become her Instagram follower. And there's her Instagram if you want to go support her over on Instagram and show her some love. But you got a lot of fans in the chat. We definitely come back anytime you want as we talk about this, especially tomorrow if you're around. Join us on our Amber follow-up tomorrow because it's going to get, I'm sure, even more intense. But I wanted to make sure I got all your plugs in. Plus, I know a lot of you, the shirts, you picked them up. There's still time. Pick up the Johnny is Innocent or the Justice for Johnny shirts. Lots more Popcorn Planet tees and whatnot. So thanks to everybody who supported our merch store. You can make sure to go check that out as well. Adios, everybody. Thanks again. Bye. Bye. Thank you, guys. Hold on. I'm going to end this and say bye to you.